Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is Rob Shmuel, wishing all of you a Happy New Year. May you be inscribed and sealed in the Book of Life. And there's another phrase I could never get the hang of, Gamar Hat something. You know what? Maybe with all you watching, maybe I'll just look it up. What do you think? That way I'll just have it and I can say it right. And I'll do this right on screen and humiliate myself. It's one of those things that I just never got. Okay, let's see. Yom Kippur. Greetings. Gamar Hatima Tova. May you be sealed in the book of life. And Som Kal. Som is fast, Kal is easy. May you have an easy fast for those of you that are fasting. And I know that a lot of you are not. Well, because, you're not Jewish, so you're not. A lot of you, too, are medically compromised, so you're going to fast as much as you can, which is wonderful. And I personally believe that God appreciates the effort. God knows that you're not up to par. After all, this is one of our challenges, right? Unfortunately, but it is what it is. So I thought that instead of actually going through a specific or specifics Torah reading, I felt like I just wanted to kind of jumble them all up together, the high holidays, because we do have some special Torah readings. Okay. So also I just want to point out too, as far as besides the greetings. Yes, I am wearing a yarmulke. Yes, it is white. We dress in white for Yom Kippur, and I'll get into that in a minute. And this is the yarmulke that I got married in. My wife has restored it, and I'm happy. And because it's so special, and because it's such a special occasion, finding the love of my life and my soulmate and my friend, somebody who's helped me through thick and thin, a lot of thick and a lot of thin, let me tell you. Um, it's kind of an honor for that. So I save it for the high holidays, and there it is. So why do we dress in white for Yom Kippur? Well, Yom Kippur, one of the things we do is we look to emulate angels. That's part of the explanation as to why we go without food and water. Most of it is about afflicting ourselves. We not so much to punish ourselves, to inflict pain, but to kind of really make a point. And that point is multifold, as many things in Judaism is that we want to show ourselves, we want to prove to ourselves. Why do we sin? Because we're tempted to go the easy route. So by giving up food, water, pleasure for 25, 26 hours, we're showing ourselves that if we can do that, if we're that powerful, and we have that much of an intent, then resisting temptation throughout the year should be a piece of cake. Here we are going to fast, and I'm using a food metaphor. So another reason is that we look to emulate angels. Angels are not above us, but they're closer to God. They're God's messengers. God, this is how God communicates with us humans a lot of the times, because God is in a realm that we just absolutely cannot fathom, hence the word ineffable. So angels dress in white. Angels do not eat or drink. Angels do not sit because they don't have knees, and hence why we stand a lot for Yom Kippur. It's also one of the reasons why we say Baruch Shem Kavod aloud during Yom Kippur, because beside the fact, yes, it's not in the Torah, so it's a separator between the Shema, which is a declaration, and the V'ahavta, and the other two paragraphs, which are really kind of imperatives telling us to do things, commandments. Um, it's also a very, very holy recitation. Only angels say it. Angels do say it. So at this point, while we're resisting outside temptations, we become more like angels. The other reason we fast is so that we can block out all other stimuli and just focus on what we need to do better for this year. And for me, I know a lot of people think, and rightly so, that the high holidays basically is Rosh Hashanah, the 10 days of all, when we're really taking stock and really focusing on how we can do better. And of course, the pinnacle, which is Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, or as Rabbi Dr. Hertz in his Hertz Chumash says, at one-ment, where we can really focus out again all that other stuff, all that other noise in life, and just be one with God and one with our fellows. So we have that. For me, the high holidays, and for some others, high holidays might extend from Selichot, which is typically about a week or so before Rosh Hashanah, when we're starting to get used to the fact that we're going to be repenting, all the way to the end of Shemini Atzeret and Simchat Torah. But for me, it also extends into Elul, the beginning of Elul, when we start reciting Psalm 27. And we start taking stock of, we want to give ourselves, to God in a way, and we want to really, God is my light, whom shall we fear? We want to know that we want to continue following God, hence the word teshuvah, return. And when we read the specific Torah portions, the special portions for this time of the year, we look at themes. Okay, Rosh Hashanah, the idea of Abraham and Sarah having Isaac, and expelling Hagar and Ishmael because they were not monotheists, they were pagans, and yet the idea is that Ishmael himself found a better way. He repented after a while. It's also, think about it, the beginning of Judaism. We have Isaac being born, so now we have generation to generation. We have a lineage that's being established. Second day, the Akedah, the binding of Isaac, the fact that Abraham was so willing to give up his son for God. Now, God, of course, never wanted that, and maybe Abraham realized that as well. But the point that he was able to do it shows the dedication to God's commandments, one of Abraham's 10 trials. Yom Kippur, we have the reading of the first Yom Kippur. It was different when we had a Mishkan and a temple. Now we don't. So we've adapted a lot of what we do to prayers, to praying. But at that time, and further, while we had a temple, the high priest would have the two goats. One was designated as the sin offering. The other one was going to Azazel, which can translate loosely as God's strength. And there has been so much superstition revolved around that. And I'm laughing because, we're Jews. We don't believe in superstition. We believe in a God's plan. Okay? Do you like astrology? I like astrology. Doesn't mean the planets cause anything. It's the same forces that cause everything else to happen. Okay? But the point is that we are sending the goat out. Some people, it's to divert Satan. Yes, we believe in Satan, obstruction, who is God's prosecuting attorney. So, Satan is busy following the goat rather than, counting up all our sins that he can prosecute us for on the day of judgment. And then in the afternoon, we have that infamous, I say infamous because of what it says, Deuteronomy chapter 18, which is all the forbidden relationships, one of which being man shall not lay with man. I'm not going to comment on it. I'm going to leave that up to you. I'm just telling you that's what the Torah says among no intimate relations between close family relationships. And that is because lust is a very big temptation, and this is one of the things we have to control. Then we have Sukkot. There's a lot of readings for Sukkot. A lot of them are what Sukkot is, the three pilgrimage festivals, Passover, Shavuot, and Sukkot. Sukkot is the Jewish Thanksgiving, and we have Torah readings about giving thanks, about taking the species, about being the third of the three where Israel would trek down to the temple and observe it. And by the way, on the seventh year, this is when all the loans were forgiven, right? All the the debt obligations were forgiven. Slaves went free. It was during Sukkot. And then there's some Shemini Atzeret, the eighth day of assembly. A lot of that some of that's with firstborn. And then we have Simchat Torah, which is where and the only portia we read other than Shabbat is V'zot HaBracha, these are the blessings, where Moses does kind of a redo his perception of the various tribes and, his blessings versus Jacob at the end of Genesis. So, and it's only read on Simchat Torah. And it's read, and then, of course, we rewind the Torah scroll, or we have another one next to it, so it doesn't take up time. We start Genesis, right? It's a continuous stream. We start reading Genesis, the first chapter, which is creation, and then we read the first 6 or so verses of chapter 2, which is about Shabbat. So these are basically the themes that we look at during the high holidays. So to all of you, let's take stock of who we are. Yes, there is, um, pardon me for I have sinned, forgive me for I have erred. That is in our daily weekly recitation of the Amidah, or what we call the Shemona Esrei, because there's 18, actually 19 blessings. But this is really the time when we really have to be humble and be sincere that we want to change. So to all of you, let me read it. Gamar Chatima Tova. May it be inscribed and sealed in the book of life for a good life. Tzom Kal. Have an easy fast for those of you that are doing it. And I want to thank all of you for being part of my life. I'm humbled by that. And if I can inspire people in any way, shape, or form, thank you. Shabbat Shalom. Shana Tova.